Hey YouTube, this is Doree, and today I'm doing something a little bit different because I'm talking about a subject that's a little personal, a little touchy. It's a video response to Taryn's video about reveal release being the other woman, and I actually thought about it for a while for two reasons before I made this video. One of the thoughts that I had was, do I really want to put my business in the street? And the other thought was, should I add to something that Taryn already did very well? Because I believe that Taryn's message and her advice was really well done. It was really well, it was on point, and it gave the writer of the letter some really good advice. And so if you are watching this video cold and you have not watched Taryn 916's video, this may not make a whole lot of sense to you about why I'm saying the things I'm about to say. So you might want to watch her video first. Overall, that in situations where I was the other woman in the past, it was often not only somewhat part of what Taryn said about the low self-esteem, but even more so of just buying the BS excuses from the other person, or just wanting even a piece of someone that I could have, even if I couldn't have the whole person exclusively to myself. The main person that comes to my mind who I was the other woman for a while in the legalistic sense is my ex-husband. I actually married my daughter's father, and before we got married, when we first met, I was 20 years old and he was 28, and he was married. It wasn't as big of a deal to me because, and I didn't think of myself as the other woman really, because his wife was someone that he had not seen in something like 10 years, he said, and she lived in another state. We met in New York State and she was living in North Carolina. And at the time that we were dating, and the first actually 2 years that we were together, he didn't know that she was in North Carolina. He figured she was somewhere, but when they were married, they lived in New York. I had always lived in New York. I met him in New York, so he just lost touch with her, and he figured, hey, I'm not getting married again. I'm not getting married again, so what's the point of me getting divorced? That was what he told me. I don't need to get divorced because I'm never going to get married again. Until he met me. So after a couple of years of dating, we lived together for a short period. We got married. Right before we got married, of course, we had to get divorced. I mean, he had to get divorced from her. So that was the biggest example of what I can say of being the other woman. Was other excuses that I received. I remember a man who I was involved with for a time, and he was married, and he told me, oh, I only got married to her because she wanted me to. I didn't really want to get married. I don't believe in marriage. He doesn't even really believe in God. And they already had kids together. He didn't want to lose his family, so he felt like sometimes he didn't want to be with her, but he didn't want to lose the access with his children. And I guess he saw some things going on with his brother and his brother's situation and custody and things like that. Another guy, this one's really interesting to me because this is something that I've never heard a man say before. Another guy told me that the reason why he wouldn't let go of his girlfriend is because even though they were always at odds and he wasn't very happy with her, she was a good woman, and he just didn't want to be out there by himself. He did not want to be single. And he kind of used the analogy of jobs. He said you would not really be smart to quit a job unless you had a new job waiting for you. And so he said, I don't really want to, let go of this woman until I know you, and I know someone who is right for me. And he knew that I wasn't right for him. I was good enough to do certain things with, but I wasn't good enough to be his girlfriend, at least for what he thought of my personality and things like that. And then there was another guy who I met in college. I actually was cheated on when I was in college. I had a long distance relationship one year, and I heard from some girl long distance that my boyfriend had gotten a girl pregnant and that she had the baby. And I was like, well, how did all this happen behind my back? How did I not know about any of this? And so I think part of me cheating on him was because I had been cheated on and I didn't feel like I could get caught. It felt exciting, things like that. So those are some of my little anecdotes about being the other woman and different reasons and rationales that I had and that the other person gave for why they did it. No matter what the dude tells you, no matter what you think, it's wrong. If they belong to somebody else, it is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. I don't care. We could go into it. I'm not going to. We could talk about swinging couples. It's still wrong. And open marriages, things like that. I don't condone any of that stuff, but I won't go there.